in the maximum security prison of Pelican Bay State Prison in California. Inmates are not allowed to have any personal belongings except for the clothes on their back and the shoes on their feet. Everything else, including their identification, is taken away from them, including their name. They are simply known as their inmate number. Recently, this prison has been plagued by a series of gruesome murders, with the motive for each crime being robbery. The prison guards have been unable to stop the crimes, and now they've run out of options. They turn to an unlikely source to help catch the killer, an undercover cop who just so happens to be an inmate himself. But who is this mysterious prisoner? What brings him to Pelican Bay, and what is his endgame? Let's find out in today's episode. Officer Ramirez had worked in narcotics for most of his career, and was actually one of the best cops on the force. He had a wife and 2 kids, and a promising future ahead of him. But it all came crashing down when he was set up by his partner and arrested for possession of a controlled substance. Now looking at 10 years, Ramirez had only one shot at avoiding prison: go undercover as an inmate at Pelican Bay and find the person responsible for the recent string of murders. It would be dangerous, but it was his only option if he wanted to see his family again. So he agreed. The police gave him a new identity, shaved his head, took away his glasses, and put him in an orange jumpsuit. Then they took him to the prison. When he arrived, they stripped him and gave him a number, 8,688. They then threw him into the general population. As days turned into weeks, Ramirez started to blend in. He befriended some inmates and learned the lay of the land. He also began to notice patterns in the murders. Each victim was robbed of their canteen, which contained things like cigarettes, candy, and ramen noodles, small comforts of home that inmates were willing to kill for. But what Ramirez didn't know was that the guards were also stealing from the inmates, taking the more valuable items like TVs and video games. This led him to believe that the guards were behind the killings, which meant he needed to find a way to gather evidence without them knowing. He managed to get his hands on a prison matchbook and used it to record audio messages of inmates talking about the murders. He then wrote down everything he learned about the case, hiding the information in Braille in case the prison censors ever looked through his belongings. Finally, he was able to get a rough sketch of the murderer thanks to one of his new friends, an inmate known as Smiley. Ramirez then started making plans. He bribed Smiley and another inmate, Big Tuna, to help him carry out his mission. His goal was to steal into the prison's armory and frame one of the guards for murder. The plan was risky, but it was their only chance at justice. On the day of the mission, Ramirez, Smiley, and Big Tuna snuck into the armory. Ramirez put on a guard uniform and grabbed a gun. He then planted the gun in the locker of a guard named Hoskins, who was known for his abusive behavior towards the inmates. As Ramirez exited the armory, Hoskins walked in, saw the gun, and immediately panicked. Ramirez had carefully planned this and knew exactly what would happen next. Hoskins tried to grab the gun, but it was too late. Ramirez pulled out his own gun and shot Hoskins in front of several witnesses. When the dust settled, Ramirez stood over Hoskins' body with a gun in his hand. The inmates cheered. Ramirez had done it. He had taken down one of the most hated guards in the prison and exposed the truth about the thefts. But as the applause died down, Ramirez knew he had to make a run for it. With the guards now alerted to his presence, Ramirez ran for the exit. In the ensuing chase, he managed to escape the prison and make it to a waiting car. He slipped into the back seat and they sped away. Once they were far away from Pelican Bay, Ramirez removed his disguise and revealed himself to be Officer Ramirez. He had done it. He had infiltrated one of the most dangerous prisons in America and brought down a corrupt guard. But as the adrenaline wore off, he knew he had just made a lot of enemies. He had taken down one of their own, and they wouldn't forget it. Now living under the Witness Protection Program, Ramirez spends his days trying to outrun his past. He knows that whoever he made angry while undercover will never forgive him and are out for revenge. Will Ramirez be able to stay one step ahead? Or will the people he double-crossed finally catch up to him? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more content.